Hey guys, Mr. Graves here. Today, I remember I was saying I was going to do 3 videos. So this is the second of the 3 videos for Unit 3. We're going to focus on equations with variables on both sides. I'm going to make that the title here. With variables on both sides. There we go. So let me explain what I mean. So like, say for instance, if I have like 2x plus 3 equals 3x plus 3, and let's say that the x is equal to, oh my god, this is a bad example. Oh my gosh. Let me just pick one. Let me just pick one that on my worksheet. That's super easy. Okay, like let's just say we have, well, that's toughy. That's a toughie. Let's say instead of doing algebra, let's just say this. Let's say 2, 3 plus 4, right, is the same as 2 times 3 plus 2 times 4, right? They're both basically the same thing because I can actually do the distributive property, right? 2 times 3 is 6 plus 8 is 14, right? And you can, of course, do 6 plus 8 here is also 14 on both sides. Now, let's say on this problem, I'm going to go ahead and hit the reverse button. I love this undo button. It's so awesome. If I click on this, sweet. And let's say I replace the 3 with x. Okay, so I'm going to replace the 3 here with x. And let's just say that the x, we don't know what the x is, right? We know it's 3, but let's just say for the sake of things, we don't know what the x is, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do my algebra on my calculations, right? 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 8 is, so 2 times 4 is 8, equals to 2x plus 8, right? So we have, as you can see, we have the exact same thing. So you can actually, the answer for this is actually going to be, so it should be 3. So if I subtract 2x on both sides, I get 0x. X is 0? No, that's not right. Okay, well, I just wanted you all to see how you can have your equation on both sides. And we're essentially the key thing is that you have to balance your equation. So when I say balance your equation, I'm going to go ahead and write this over here. When I say balance equation, I mean you have to do the same on both sides. So do the same operation. And when I say operation, you guys know what I mean, right? Adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing to both sides. There we go. So it's time for us to do some problems to check it out. This is not going to be a long video. At least I don't anticipate it being a long video, because we are just simply going to solve for x on both sides. So let me start off with something like super easy. Like here I have 11 plus 2p is equal to p plus 4, right? And the way to solve these is you're going to have 3 operations you have to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on this right here, the constants. So the first step here, I'm going to focus on the constants by doing the inverse of plus 4, right? And what's the opposite of adding 4? I subtract 4. But we got to be very careful that we don't do minus 4 to the 2p. So now, it goes away completely. Bring down the p. Down the p. And of course, 11 minus 4 is 7. Now my next step, step 2, is I'm going to focus on the coefficients. Focus on the coefficient. And of course, when I say coefficient, I mean the numbers in front of the x, right? So I'm going to focus on coefficients by doing the inverse of plus 2p, right? So that means I'm going to subtract 2p on both sides. When I do that, this goes away. Bring down to 7. Now, I'm going to let you know this for going forward for every algebra. Anytime you have a letter that does not have a number in front of it, write the number 1 in front of it. It's just going to make your life much easier going forward when it comes to algebra, because you guys do know that you guys are going to go to high school and you have to pass algebra 1 end of course exam to actually get credit. So number 7, we're actually going to end up having to do, make sure I get the colors right, 1p minus 2p, which is negative 1p. So how do I know it's negative 1, right? Well, again, I'm going to throw on my scoreboards like I did before. Looks like my negative team. I'm sorry, let me get some water real fast. My throat's killing me. I'm going to have my negative 2, my negative scored 2. Then looks like my positive team scored 1. Obviously, who's winning? The negativist team is winning. And how much are they winning by? They're winning by 1. So that's where I get the negative 1p from. Now, my final step, step 3, is I am going to do the opposite of negative 1 times p. So if I'm doing the opposite of negative 1 times something, I'm going to divide by negative 1. Now, again, I got to be careful because I need to do the whole tic-tac-toe deal here. So I come over here. Make sure, because I did this in an earlier video, but of course, some people were not here probably and just skipped it. So the earlier video, I did tic-tac-toe 3 in a row with the pluses and put the minuses everywhere else. And as you can see, based on our problem, we actually have a positive divided by a negative, which is my answer should be a negative. And it will be. So there's going to be a negative. 7 divided by 1 is negative 7 equals p, and that's my answer. So essentially what I'm saying is that if I plug in 7 for p, I should get the same answer on both sides. Now I'm going to check my work. Unfortunately here, it seems that because I've run out of space, I have to go to a new page. So I'm going to add a new page here. And I am going to write the original problem. Where's that? Okay. So I'm going to have 11 plus 2p equals p plus 4. Lord. More emails, more messages. It's crazy. So indeed, we know p equals negative 7. So let's replace the p's with negative 7. Leave everything exactly else the way it is. Remember, I told you anytime you're multiplying a letter times a number, so anytime you have a letter next to a number in algebra, you're actually going to be multiplying them. Plus 11, there we go. So it's going to be positive 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. And negative 7 plus 4 is negative 3. So indeed, negative 3 equals negative 3. So this is indeed checked perfectly. I'm gonna do another one because I like to do like a mixture of problems. Let's do a long one. And I'm going to replace some. Yeah, I'll replace it. So let me do 7x. Yeah, I'll just do m. I'll just leave the m's. Minus 7 minus 6m minus 16 is equal to 1 plus 4m. There we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to combine like terms. And when I say like terms, so I need to probably make a good like terms. If you notice here, I have a 7m, right? Notice it has an m next to it and a 6m. So that's a like term I can combine because they both have an m next to them. So they both have a coefficient and a variable. So I can do 7m minus 6m, which is 1m, right? And then I can do the other, I can combine the other guy here. I'm going to use a circle negative 7 minus 16 is going to be negative 23. So I can rewrite the left side now as 1m, right? I got the 1m here, minus 23. 1 plus 4m. Okay, so we did the first part very well. Now we're going to do the second part. And the second part here, we are going to focus on the constants. Now you don't have to do the constants first. You can do the coefficients, but I'm going to focus on the constants. So I'm going to do the opposite here of minus 23, which is plus 23 on both sides. Remember the opposite? We're doing the inverse because we got to get rid of it. So I'm going to add 23 on the right side as well. Oh, I love this music in the background. And of course, 1 plus 23 is 24. So we just did that one. Now we're going to focus on the coefficients. Oops, come on. Focus on the coefficients. So the opposite, I'm going to do the opposite of, actually, no, scratch that. I'm going to do the opposite of here, of positive 4, which is minus 4 on both sides. When I do that, this goes away completely, bring down to 24. And 1 minus 4 is negative 3m. Just like that. And then our final step, step 4. Let me see, what color can I use? I can use that one, step 4. I'm just simply going to do the inverse. I'm going to do the opposite of negative 3 times m. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3. And when I'm done now, m is going to equal 24 divided by negative 3, which is negative 8. So unlike the other step, we had to do one more step where we had to combine like terms. But we still do the other 3 steps, right? We focus on the constants, focus on the coefficients, and then we do the opposite, which is to divide. Typically, a lot of times in these, you're going to end up dividing to get your final answer. Okay, now I'm going to do one more. Okay, I do. You know what? Let me do 2 more. Yeah, let's do 2 more. 2 more. I always like to challenge myself when it comes to doing math. I don't know. I'm just super weird like that, I guess. Okay, so let's do number. I have one on my paper here. I'm going to have 2 parentheses, negative 6m minus 3 is equal to 6. This supposed to be a 6. 5m minus 1. So 1, there we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute. So when I say distribute, I'm going to take the number on the outside and multiply it times the inside. So 2 times -6 is -12m. 2 times -3 is -6. 6 times 5m is going to be 30m. And 6 times -1 is going to be -6. So we have distributed, right? I'm going to write it out here. We did 2 times -6m, which is -12m, right? Then I did 2 times -3, which is -6. Then I did 6 times 5m. Oh, I love this song they're playing in the background. Yes, I love my emo music. 6 times -1 is -6. So just like that, I got all my stuff down here. So I have my -12m, -6, 30m, and -6, respectively. Now I'm going to go ahead and do my next step. I'm going to focus on my constants. Now remember, you don't have to do the constants second. You can do the coefficients. Okay, but I'm just going to focus on the constants for now. Remember, constants are numbers that do not have any letters next to them, right? So I'm going to do the opposite here of -6, which I'm going to be adding 6 to both sides. So when I do that now, this goes away. So I bring everything down. So -12m is equal to 30m plus 0, right? Because -6 plus 6 is 0. Then my third step now I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on my coefficients. So focus on the coefficients. I wish I could control my music from my phone here, but I'm dedicated now to having my radio. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and do the opposite right here. I'm going to subtract 30 on both sides, 30m on both sides. Goes away. -12 minus 30 is -42m equals to the 0. And now my final step, step 4, is I'm going to divide by -42 to both sides. But you're going to notice a problem very quickly. Oh, wait, you can do that. Ah, you can do that. Oh, good. I was right. So m is going to equal 0 because any number with a 0 divided by 0 is going to be 0. So m is 0 just like that. So those are the ones where you have to distribute, okay? So I've already done quite a few, but I still owe y'all one more because I know these, I want to make sure you guys have a very good grasp on this stuff, okay? Let's do one that involves fractions. Okay, so let me see and make sure I have it right. Okay, got it. So let me challenge myself. And if I'm wrong, I'll definitely own up to it. So let's do 61 over 28 plus a is equal to 19 over 4a minus 11 over 7. So a lot of us hate fractions. I understand. I get it. I don't know why, because you guys all like food, and especially some of y'all love pizza. So you should love fractions. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the LCD. So when I say LCD, I mean the least common denominator. So I'm going to look at 28, 4, and 7. I'm going to see if they go into each other. So it looks like if I do the scale factor, 4 goes into 28 by multiplying by 7, and 7 goes into 28 by multiplying by 4. So I can say the LCD is going to be 28. So in this case, I don't have to do anything to the one that has 61 over 28, but I have to go ahead here and I need to multiply this guy here by 7, because 4 times 7 is 28. I need to multiply the 7 by 4 because 7 times 4 is 28. But remember, what I do to one side, I do the same to the other side. So now I'm going to have 61 over 28 plus A is equal to 19 times 7. So I need to get my calculator on my hand here. See, I have a big old TI graphing calculator. And that's 133 over 28A. And 11 times 4 is 44. Now you notice I have nothing but denominators, right? So I can go ahead and do and perform my second step, which is just to cancel the denominators. That's it. And it makes it much easier, doesn't it, to work with fractions now. So this goes away, this goes away, and this goes away. So I now have 61 plus, oops, that should be plus A is equal to 133A minus 44. Now I can do the rest of it, right? So let me make sure I get my colors right. So let me go on ahead now and focus on, let me focus on the coefficients. Let me change it up. Just the last problem. I'm feeling happy. Let me change it up. Coefficients. So here's my coefficients of A, right? And if I need to do the opposite of that, I'm going to subtract A on both sides. So this goes away. I bring down 61. Bring down negative 44, minus 44. Now remember what I taught you. If it doesn't have a letter next to it, write a 1 in front of it. So now you're doing 133 minus 1, which is 132. Now I'm going to focus on my, make sure I have it right. Oh, no, that's not going to work. So I'm going to do the fourth step now. I'm going to focus on the constants. So the opposite of minus 44 is plus 44. What I do to one side, I do the same to the other side. Bring down 132. And 61 plus 44 is 105. Now, final step, thank God we're almost done, right? Step 5 is I'm just going to divide by 132 to both sides, right? Oh, I love this song. It's such a depressing, beautiful song, too. Sad. So 105 divided by 132 gives me a decimal point. I'll just do 0.80. There we go. So that's a lot of work, but I want to make sure you guys fully understand how to do this, because you will see it again in the 9th grade. The stuff is not going to go away, and you have to master it in the 9th grade to get out of high school and get yourself your high school diploma. Remember, I have tutorials 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Thursday, okay? I don't work on the weekends. Sorry, I don't. But I think, 45 hours. No, not 45. So it's actually 9 times 4. That's 36 hours in the week. It's enough time for you guys to be able to use me as a resource, okay? You guys take care, and I'll see y'all in class.